What's up, guys? Welcome back. So, as most of you know, I am working on a kit to swap K-Series engines along with the K-Series transmissions into Porsche Caymans. And because I keep referring to the Porsche Cayman, I get asked a lot, will this kit work on Boxsters? The answer is, that is the plan. I want to accommodate both the Cayman and the Boxster in this swap kit because realistically, most of these chassis are probably in the Boxster form, not so much the Cayman form. I bet you there is way more Boxsters than there are Caymans. So because of that, I have been keeping my eyes open for a Boxster, and just so happens one of my friends was basically throwing one away. So let me switch the camera around and I'll show you what I got. All right, guys, free Boxster. A friend of mine was basically scrapping this. He had it and he basically stripped it all down and took everything off it that he needed and was gonna scrap this chassis. He wanted it for the engine and the transmission and a whole bunch of parts inside, and I don't really need any of that stuff. So when he was done with it, he offered it to me. And here it is. It's super dirty. It's been sitting outside for many years, and but for me, for my purposes, this is perfect because what I want to do with this car is verify that this kit is going to work. And in order to do this kit, I do think there's going to be some cutting and welding, sort of nothing crazy, but there will be some cutting and welding to make this kit fit in these chassis. And I want to do that, all that test fitting and cutting and prototyping on this chassis before I go and attempt it on the really nice, clean Cayman chassis that I have here. I don't want to mess this thing up at all. Don't want to do any real experimenting on it. So this Boxster is the perfect candidate. It doesn't matter what happens to it. It was free, and it will never even be put back on the road because it's so stripped out. So yeah, pretty cool. The Porsche collection here at the shop is growing. I got my 911 that is all done. I have this 911 that is the development 911 to finalize and perfect the K-swap kit for 911s. And then I have this 2006 Cayman S. So lots of cool things on the go. What I need to do is start rearranging these cars because they're not in the right order at the moment. What I want to do is take the Boxster and put it where the Cayman is because I need to be able to access that car from underneath. So I'm gonna put this one sort of back together, and I think I'm gonna rearrange, maybe push the Civic back and put the Cayman where the Civic is. Because up front here, I just have this waiting area, and who am I kidding? I don't need a waiting area. No one waits here. It never gets used. It's a big waste of space. So I'm gonna get rid of these couches, push this Civic further back into there, and then put my Cayman here. It'll still be accessible here, but I need the Boxster back there up on this hoist so I can really start digging into the subframe development to make this K-swap work into the Boxster and Cayman chassis. So might as well start rearranging these cars and get the Boxster up on this lift. All right. All right, success. Boxster on the lift, so we can start working away at it. Got the Cayman tucked away over here, still accessible if I need to check on things, but just out of the way, nice and safe. Got my EG hatchback way back there in the corner. Basically just patiently waiting back there till I find the time to do the K-swap with the DSG Volkswagen transmission. This is like the dual clutch transmission. One of the reasons why this transmission is out is because I do want to attach it to one of the K-series engines that I have lying around and test fit that in this Boxster as well to see if the K-swap with the Volkswagen DSG transmission will be a possibility in this chassis as well, because I think that'd be super cool. There are lots of automatic Boxsters and Caymans out there, and in those cases, this K-swap with the Volkswagen DSG transmission might be a really cool option. A few years ago, I parted out a Volkswagen GTI to get that transmission that's over there, and I have the adapter plate, I have the kit to swap it into a Civic, but if it's a possibility to swap it into one of these Porsche Boxster / Caymans, that will be very cool as well. So I'm definitely gonna bolt this transmission to an engine and test fit it in this chassis while I have the chance to see if that's gonna be an option as well. When I did do that part out, I also tuned that transmission and put that car on the dyno and tested out the tune. And I made a video of it, and I'll link it up in the corner there if you're interested in checking it out. But these DSG transmissions shift super fast and are lots of fun. So it'd be interesting to see if that's an option to do one of those transmissions in these chassis. I definitely want to try that. So I'm gonna put the car up in the air, start taking a look at it closely. I've already noticed a few little differences between the Boxster and the Cayman. There is a big difference in years. This is a 2000 Boxster and that Cayman is a 2006. So I've noticed a couple little differences, but for the most part, they're basically the same. Over here I have a 2003 RSX Type S engine, or basically full swap. This is actually the engine and transmission out of the RSX that I used for the videos with that dyno comparison. And the plan is to test fit this engine along with a K24, to make sure both options work, because some guys might want to go with K20s, some guys might want to go with K24s. The plan is to support both engines in the same way that Hasport kind of does it. I have the Hasport kits over here, and because there's a height difference in the engines, Hasport just provides 2 different bolt holes to accommodate the position of the different positioning of the K20 and the K24. So I might do something like that, or maybe something completely different, but I do need to be able to test both K20s and K24s in this chassis here. So why don't I get it up in the air and start taking a closer look. All right, Boxster in the air. I did take a peek, and it basically looks exactly the same as a Cayman underneath. Not too surprising. All the subframe stuff, all the suspension stuff looks the same. I'm gonna try to track down the part numbers off these pieces and just verify it, but it all looks the same. And Porsche seems to be really good at repurposing their existing part spin to reuse on different chassis, which is great for us because it'll make life easier to accommodate both the Cayman and Boxster. The engine bay looks pretty much the same as the Cayman. One slight difference. There is this piece of sheet metal here. It is in the way. I'm gonna have to remove it. I took a look. It looks like it's just spot welded in place. So I'm gonna try to drill out these spot welds and see how hard it is to remove that piece of sheet metal, because it is in the way and it has no use to us. So why don't I see how hard it is to get that thing out of the way. All right, sheet metal removed. There was like, what, 6 spot welds holding this thing in, 4 on the back and 2 on the top. And got it all out with a spot weld drill bit. And so now we have the clearance and we can test fit this K20. All right, so I have the K20 mocked up, ready to go. I'm gonna use this lift cart to roll the engine into position and then lift it up. One thing of note is I do believe the engine is gonna have to be installed perfectly straight up and down. If you know, K-series normally have a lean to them. You can see it here. They always have a lean or a tilt towards the back. In this case, I don't think we can keep them in that orientation because there's very minimal space back here. So I do think the best way to make this engine fit is remove the lean, remove the tilt. I may actually have to tilt it a bit more. It's not perfectly straight up and down, but it's the best I can do while I'm here by myself at the moment. Doing so also allows for a slightly better axle alignment. So I think it's like win-win by doing this. There are some cons. The stock oil pan is not gonna fit, but not a big deal in my mind. I made a valve cover so this engine would fit in my 911. If I have to make a oil pan to fit this engine in a Boxster Cayman, that's not a big deal. So why don't I roll this into place, lift it up, and we will take a look. All right, K20 engine in the engine bay. So I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like in the engine bay. Keep in mind, this is not its final position. There's a lot of tweaking left to do, but it should give you a pretty good idea of what it's gonna be like in the engine bay once we finalize its location. I do think I need to tilt the engine a little bit more forward, I guess, because it's still leaning a little bit back, but I'll deal with that another day. You can kind of see axle alignment. It's only a slight angle for axle alignment. I actually think axle alignment is better with the K series than it was with the Porsche transaxle which had a pretty aggressive angle backwards. I don't know if the camera really does this justice, but it's only the slightest little angle forward. So pretty happy with that. What I should show you is the oil pan. Can't see it from this side, but around on this side, we can see the oil pan and what I was talking about. So the reason we'll need a custom oil pan if we tilt the engine like this is because now the oil pan leans kind of forward, and it would have been flat if it was leaning back, but when you tilt it forward, you get this low point up front. So I'll have to make an oil, if we choose to go this direction, I think this is the way to go. We will have to make a custom flat bottom oil pan, and not a big deal. We can cast that and put some nice fins in it, which will help with oil cooling. Hopefully guys, you can hear me okay. My neighbors are being extremely loud today. So I'm pretty happy with how things are looking down here. Let's go up top and I'll show you from the top of the engine bay. All right, so one thing before I show you the top, I've never really worked on mid-engine cars before, and honestly, they are kind of a pain. The access to the engine is all from the top, which means you have to like lean over the engine bay and deal with the covers and stuff. But anyways, here it is, K20 in the Porsche Boxster engine bay. So this is with a stock K20 valve cover, and the K20 is a little bit shorter than the K24. So if this was a K24, it would be sticking up higher, about 3/4 of an inch. And one issue is back here. It sticks out a bit higher than what the engine cover would allow. That being said, if this is an issue for Boxster guys or guys that don't want to modify the engine cover that would normally be back here, I think you could get away with running one of my low profile valve covers. So this is one of my low profile valve covers compared to a stock K series valve cover. And if you see, it is significantly lower. And that might be the key to making sure that this engine swap fits inside the engine bay without having to modify the engine cover. Or maybe just a slight modification, or I don't think it'll really interfere with the soft top at all. It definitely won't interfere with the Cayman back area at all. It's just my concerns are Boxsters and the soft top and how it tucks away up on top of the engine cover that goes back here. So that'll be something that we figure out as we go along, but I do think this is looking very promising. And if engine height clearances are an issue, there's always the K20 option. Because it is shorter than the K24, a full 3/4 of an inch shorter. But I'm really liking the fitment of this. Everything looks like it'll fit really nicely in here. So that might be it for this video. Okay, yeah, so I think I will stop the video here so I can get this edited and out to you guys, and you can let me know what you think about this K series fitment in the Porsche Boxster But I'm gonna continue working away, and I will document the process and continue making these videos for you guys. So let me know what you think. If you like the videos, do me the favor, hit like. If you haven't already, consider subscribing, and I will continue to do my best to document this process of to swapping a K-Series into these Porsche Boxster / Cayman chassis. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you again soon. Bye now.